Thank you for listening to the show on Really Big Something Channel. October 11th, 2017.
205 here on the great WRKO. Okay, I've got a fresh column up. Trump versus the Republicans. It is now about the civil war engulfing the Republican Party. You can read it up on WRKO.com. Kuhner's Corner. Please send it off to as many of your friends as possible. I think the future of the Republican Party is now going to be decided really over the next couple of weeks and couple months. Now, we'll talk about that later this hour. But first, it broke today, big story. The Boy Scouts of America have made it official. I guess they've gone PC. They now say they are willing to admit girls. They're going to start with the Cub Scouts next year, and then in 2019, the older girls will be allowed to join the Boy Scouts of America, and they then will be eligible to become Eagle Scouts themselves. And so the Kuhner Country poll question of the day, powered by Bill Kelly Financial Services, is essentially, do you agree? Do you agree with the Boy Scouts' decision to now openly admit girls? If the answer is yes, you think it's a good idea, text the letter A to 680-680. If you're like me, you think it's not a good idea. It's not good for the Girl Scouts, not good for the Boy Scouts. No, then text the letter B to 680-680. As always, you can vote online at WRKO.com. Let me just put out one thought, and then I want to go back to the blazing phone lines. 617-266-6868. You know, have you noticed they want same-gender bathrooms? Everything has to now be co-ed. We're constantly trying to fuse the genders, erase the differences between men and women, boys and girls. And the question that I'm asking is this. Look, they've made their decision, so there's nothing much the Kuhner man can do. But I'm just giving you my honest reaction. What was wrong with the Boy Scouts? What's wrong? What's wrong with the Girl Scouts? So why can't boys have an institution, it's been around for over 100 years, whereby they go hiking, they go fishing, they go swimming, they learn how to shoot, they hang out together, they have campfires, they learn survival techniques, they learn how to use a knife, whatever it is, how to hunt, whatever it is. And I've got to say this, I was never a part of the Boy Scouts, but as I told you, I had some friends, I love those uniforms. I love the shirts, I love the shorts, I love the camaraderie of it all. And, you know, it's not that I'm against girls. Obviously, I'm always buying cookies for the Girl Scouts. And I'm with the Girl Scouts on this. In an all-female environment, I think girls actually do better. So, you know, they've got an organization where, at least in theory, they can have campfires, they can go hiking, they can go shooting, they can go learn survival techniques. So what's the problem? But really, honestly, what's the problem? And the deeper point is this. I see it with my own Ashton. I saw it with my own nephews. Everybody that I speak to that has boys and girls tells me the exact same thing. Okay? Ashton, at now, and really I think at least until his, adolescent years, 13, 14, pretty much is going to be like me. He doesn't like girls. Not that he hates them or anything, but he's into boys. You know, we watch the Avengers. His favorite superheroes are all the male superheroes. He doesn't like the Black Widow character, for example. He wants to play with he plays with some girls, but he likes to prefer to play with fellow boys. It's natural. It's normal. They go out, they have their Nerf guns, they're doing survive, they're doing, I don't know what they're doing, they're rolling around on the grass, they're shooting imaginary bad guys. That's what boys like to do. And then we all know what happens, 14, 15, 16 especially, then it's the opposite. Then all they can do is think about girls. All they want to do is think about girls. It's the same thing with my Eva. I mean, she plays with boys, don't get me wrong, but she really likes to play with fellow girls. Her best friends are girls. And they play a certain way. They have certain activities that they prefer. What's wrong with that? In other words, there are fundamental biological, physiological, psychological, emotional differences, human nature, between boys and girls, male and female. What's wrong with that? And what's wrong with having institutions that reflect and express that? Why, under the name of diversity, are we creating a genderless society where you have more homogeneity, more uniformity, more sameness? We're not becoming diverse. We're all becoming the same. 617-266-6868. Brittany, I just want to ask you this. As a young, proud woman who also buys a lot of cookies from the Girl Scouts, just
a box, Jeff?
Just a box? All right, I guess I'm the guy that loads up on those boxes.
Yeah.
Are you an A or a B on this?
I think this is so ridiculous.
Really,
I was
why?
never a Girl Scout, so I honestly have no idea what they do or whatever, but I would never think hey, Mom, I want to go be a Boy Scout. It just doesn't make any sense. That's why they have Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts. Everything is so politically correct now. It's just amazing. It's ridiculous, and both are probably going to go out of business.
I suspect I'm with you. I think in about 10, 15 years.
Yeah, of course.
Well, the boys are going to say, I really don't want to be with the girls. And I think a lot of the girls are going to say, I don't really want to be with the boys. And then before you know it, no one's going to be a Boy Scout or a Girl Scout.
I agree.
And liberalism strikes again.
Exactly.
Congratulations, guys. You've just screwed up two great institutions. This time it was a twofer. The Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts. Judy in Somerville. Go ahead, Judy.
Yeah, hi. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you, Judy?
I'm good. I am actually an old Girl Scout. I'm very proud Girl Scout. My grandson goes to Boy Scouts. He just become a Boy Scout from Weeblos. We had a huge discussion on this, and I totally disagree. When I signed my grandson up to become a Boy Scout, it was a passagehood to manhood. He hangs with the girls through the soccer, the baseball, the basketball, everything in school, outside. He needed skills to become a man. Now, letting the girls come into the Boy Scouts will totally take that away from all the boys.
Judy, I'm just curious, and I want to ask all of you this same question. Is there something about the Boy Scouts, like a kind of camaraderie, a kind of bonding, where boys, bond together as boys, and it's almost something very healthy, I like the way you put it, as a passage to manhood? That there's something about the Boy Scouts, because you're just among fellow boys, that is very special, and we're going to lose that now.
Yes, we most definitely will lose that. And what I don't understand are the people that are making this decision, most of them were Boy Scouts and most of them were Girl Scouts. They had that opportunity to have their passagehood to manhood or their passagehood to womanhood. What I don't understand is all this, women's rights to this, women's rights to that. Well, where are the women's rights to have the Girl Scouts? Now, I feel that the new families that are out, that they do not want to have to do two things at the same time or different places. So they figure they're all there.
Judy.
Why don't we all just change this and let her come into this?
Judy, thank you for that call. I didn't even think about that.
Oh, yeah, because I'm thinking that is where it is lying, totally where it started.
Judy, thank you very much for that call. It's convenient. I didn't even think about the convenience angle to all of this. So if I've got a boy, and I've got a girl, instead of driving one to the Boy Scouts and the other one to the Girl Scouts, I'm thinking, hey, You know, why don't I just drive them both to the same freaking organization, the same campfire, the same everything? You know, I never even looked at it that way. 617-266-6868. Dave in Cambridge. Go ahead, Dave.
Hey, Jeff, how you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Not bad. I'm working right now. But, Jeff, here's the deal. You got Boy Scouts. You got the Girl Scouts. There's no woman in the Boy Scouts as counselors. It's all guys. So the Boy Scouts going to have to get women in there
Yes.
to make sure nothing happens with the girls because of the way the things are today in this crazy world
Yes.
we live. Especially if they go camping overnight up in New Hampshire or something like that.
Yes.
Who's going to go out in the woods?
Yes. So you're going to have girls as Boy Scout leaders.
Yeah.
And then what happens is, Dave, think about it. So the Girl Scouts are complaining, and I don't blame them, because now you're going to have, Boy Scout leaders. Well, are boys going to be allowed to go to the Girl Scouts? I mean, I'm just, right? It's a two-way street. And the whole thing's going to become a mess. I'm just telling you, the whole thing is, you can see it already, the train wreck. It's already going to become a mess. Mike, you're up next. Go ahead, Mike.
Hey, Jeff, how are you?
Good. How are you, Mike?
Pretty good. I'm driving, so I couldn't text the answers, but you brought up the thing about Trump. Was it a joke?
Yes. It's a little bit off topic, but go ahead, Mike.
Well, I wanted to address that because I think it is a joke. And, how the press is, he made a joke about Puerto Rico, how they're going to kill his budget. And, boy, they pounced on him. They're like velociraptors. But on the Boy Scouts, I don't like it. And I think what will happen down the line, you said they're going to keep them separate when they both join. I can see a lawsuit coming. Some girls saying, why is it going to be separate? Why can't it be in the boys' side?
Well, Mike, just so you understand, that's we call them the Cub Scouts.
Yeah.
So they're going to keep them all like gender, they call them dens. But that's for the little bambinos, for the younger ones. Once they get older, they're going to integrate them. So at the higher levels, they're going to integrate them.
Oh, okay. And then I tried to get through before when you were talking about Swinestein, and I wondered if I could make a comment.
Go ahead, shoot. What the hell, Mike? You can comment on every aspect of the show. Mike? Do you like the opening? I mean, does the opening work for you, Mike?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, anyway, you know how Meryl Streep? They're such phonies. Oh, I never knew this about Harvey. There were 3 shows on 30 Rock where they addressed his predatory nature. 3 big jokes in 3 different shows on Harvey Weinstein.
Oh, she's a liar. And Mike, look, thank you for that call. Look, she knew, and Hillary knew, and Obama knew, and Ben Affleck knew, and they all know, and they all knew, and they're just playing stupid. But I don't want to get off track. Look, I got to tell you now, let me ask all the parents out there, okay? Ashton's 7, bit young. I was going to wait a couple more years before I start getting him involved in the Boy Scouts. But after this decision, A, I don't think he's going to want to go. And B, I don't even think I want him to go. Because I think what's special about the Boy Scout is now the Boy Scouts is going to get lost. I mean, really, at this point, I might as well just enroll him at summer camp. I'm not kidding. Enroll him at summer camp at the local YMCA. They can play with the girls play with the boys, they do all kinds of activities, pick them up at 5, and you have a nice day, Ashton. 617-266-6868. Is this going to discourage you from enrolling your boys, your children, into the Boy Scouts and into the Girl Scouts? More with your calls next. 2:23 here on the great WRKO. If they're really determined to do this, because remember, at the Cub Scout level, right, they're going to keep them all gender. So single gender. The dens, as they call them. Well, what they just should have done, in all honesty, is just fuse the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts into one organization, call it the Scouts of America, and the Cub Scouts, they stay all boys. And for the Girl Scouts, whatever you call them, they're all girls. And then even at the higher level, right, you can keep the 2 separate. And then once in a while, just have like a jamboree. I'm not kidding. where, okay, the Girl Scouts and the Boy Scouts together will have a big campfire or whatever. So everybody's happy this way. But instead, no. They have to open up the Boy Scouts and now have girls be admitted. And before you know it, the boys are going to want to get into the Girl Scouts. And then it's just a big freaking mess. 617-266-6868. Peter, who is a scout leader. You're up next. Go ahead, Peter.
Hey, Jeff. I'm just, I'm floored. I've been a scout leader since my son joined in 5th grade. And I got to tell you, it is an absolutely incredible organization. But as I was taught very early, it is boy-led and not parent-led. And these parents or these organizations that want to diminish this, and from a gender standpoint, it's deplorable. These young men and these boys that come into be young men, it is a rite of passage. I do want to just say, my son has just finished the Eagle Project to an organization I know you have supported, the Fisher House.
Yes.
And I got to tell you, this is in honor of General Kelly's son, who was killed in action. And there is nothing more proud of my son giving back to our country and in memory of this poor soldier who literally sacrificed his life for our freedom. And this just builds such character.
Yes.
It's just incredible. I do need to dispute, though, one of your callers talked about mothers being not involved or mothers not involved with scouts. They are in the scouts that I've led, but we do try to maintain this as a boy-driven organization. And moms, we appreciate their input and their support as an adult, but we do curb in regard to their as well as their fathers, other than being there, in outings or teaching the advancement courses.
Oh, Peter, and that's the way it should be.
Of course.
It should be that way. And Peter, thank you for that call. What's wrong? Guys, really, honestly, guys and gals, ladies and gentlemen, honestly, what's wrong with having a Boy Scouts and a Girl Scouts? What's wrong? I'm looking around and I'm like, this is so unnecessary and so ultimately destructive. And I just got to say this, okay? My Ashton, as you know, is 7. I was thinking before this of putting him into Boy Scouts probably next year, okay? He loves hiking. He loves fishing. He loves the outdoors. He loves campfires. He loves being with other boys. I mean, and it instills patriotism, love of country, survival skills, your character, integrity, mutual respect among boys. And I love the way it's phrased. It's a rite of passage into manhood. What's wrong with that? And really, I'm not thinking this to be politically correct. And I see it with my own. I wanted Ava to become a Girl Scout. And I can see she bonds with other girls. And she excels when she's with other girls. What's wrong with that? The genders, they're different. I'm sorry. God created Adam and Eve. He did. And they're both beautiful and distinct in their own way. And what we're doing now is almost like a social experiment. It's almost like a form of cultural Marxism by saying, no, boys and girls, same thing. Just literally, same thing. So just throw them together and same thing. They just, the plumbing is different. It's just a question of plumbing, really. That's it. But it isn't. And we're not thinking about the children. And I think what a previous caller said, I think, is dead on. The board that decided this, the executive board, well, they were Boy Scouts. They were the ones, you had your rite of passage. Did you want, when you were a little boy, did you want to have girls? No, or you liked it boys only. So why are you denying that to the boys today? And I got to give the Girl Scouts credit on this. Say what you want. They're the only ones complaining, and I don't blame them. Saying this is going to kill our organization, and it's not going to be good for the girls. Because our research shows, and it's just common sense, girls with girls in an all-girl, all-female environment thrive and do better. Leadership, character building, whatever. So it hurts the girls, it hurts the boys, it hurts the Girl Scouts, and it hurts the Boy Scouts. Liberalism is a mental disorder. Deb in New Hampshire. Go ahead, Deb.
Jeff, long time. Good to speak with you.
Welcome, Deb.
This is just a disaster. It's to take away the male rite of passage, as Judy said. My son-in-law is an Eagle Scout. He's a wonderful young man. This is just to emasculate the male population. I'm dead set against it. And you want to see sexual abuse mushroom? Stay tuned.
Now, Deb, that's a very interesting point. I'm just curious, why do you say that?
Jeff, the hormones of young boys, when they hit puberty...
Oh, I see what you're saying. 13, 14, 15. No, I know. Are you mixing them with girls? 13, 14, 15?
And, Jeff, what's going to happen to the
in
young
the woods?
girls 10 and 11 that are blooming sexually with their body, and they're going to be made fun of and harassed? It's not a good mix, Jeff. This is a liberal, libtard plot to emasculate our males and to make us unisex, which is eroding the culture, morals, values, and ethics. I wouldn't be surprised if Soros was behind it.
Deb, thank you very much for that call. Really good call. 617-266-6868. Okay, a lot more. Trust me. Let's take it to Evan Heidrich in the newsroom. 2:35 here on the great WRKO. Okay, we're going to get to the poll results very soon. Dramatic decision made today. As many of you know, we've been talking about it now for about an hour. The Boy Scouts of America, overturning a 100-year tradition, now say they will admit girls. They will fully integrate them in 2019 so that they can now become Eagle Scouts. And so, do you think it's a good move or a bad move? 617-266-6868. Let me throw one more log on the fire, and then I want to dive back into the phone lines. Now, it may seem like a separate issue, but it is really all part of one large cultural transformation. It's really a revolution that is slowly taking place. This is out of California. There is a law that has just been signed by Governor Moonbeam, California Governor, uber progressive Jerry Brown, whereby healthcare workers who choose not to address transgender patients by their preferred pronouns, I swear to you, will face up to $1,000 fine or, listen to this, a 1-year prison sentence. And it's aimed at the healthcare workers that work at assisted living facilities, adult daycare centers. And what the bill essentially says is this: if you're a worker at one of these, adult daycare centers or assisted living facilities or wherever, and you're taking care of an elderly patient, if that patient wants to be known as Jimmy, even though she's Jenny, or if that person is a he or a she, but wants to be known as the opposite gender, if you repeatedly refer to the person as Jimmy instead of Jenny, or she instead of he, then that is what they call abuse, a violation of transgender rights, I swear to you, and you will be fined, and the possibility of either 6 months to a year in jail. Now, 2 quick points, and then I want to jump back to you. 617-266-6868. Point number 1, look, I believe in respecting people. I really do. You want me to call you whatever, and I'm taking care of you, I'll call you whatever. I'm really being serious. But throwing people in jail over speech? What? Now, let's just say you're leave the whole transgender issue out, okay, just for a second. Hey, you're a jerk. Hey, you're a real jerk. Hey, Jimmy, I can't stand you, Jimmy. Hey, Jimmy, you're a real idiot, Jimmy. Whatever. That's verbal abuse. You know how you treat somebody who's engaging in verbal abuse of these poor patients? You fire them. You can them. You're out. But what you don't do is criminalize speech. And not only that, I want you to think about this. Now the government is saying that they can compel you, coerce you to use the pronouns that a transgender person insists that you call that person. So you could be staring at a man, but if he wants to be known as a woman, well, then you better refer to that person as a woman. Or if she's a woman and she wants to be referred to as a man, then you better refer to that person as a man. And if you don't, you will be compelled and coerced by the state to do so, up to and including a year in prison. This is A, insanity, but B, it's a growing assault on the First Amendment, and it's a growing assault on freedom of speech and freedom itself. Now, why does this tie into the Boy Scouts? And what's going on? Because it is part of the war on human nature. It's part of this attempt, as Deb put it, the last caller, to create a unisex world. A world where gender means nothing. In fact, reality means nothing. Social reality literally means nothing. I may be staring at a man. If that person tells me he's a woman, then you have to. I'm going to be coerced. I have to deny the reality in front of my eyes and identify that person as how they want to be identified. And so this is what is slowly happening. This is a revolution. And it's not going to stop. And now that we've set the ominous precedent that you can go to prison, you think it stops at daycare centers? You think it stops at assisted living facilities? It's going to go into the schools. It's going to go into the workplace. You can't, in other words, like a cancer, it seeps into everything. And so I go back to the fundamental question that I started. What's wrong with boys being boys? What's wrong with girls being girls? And what's wrong with human nature itself? Because what you're now seeing is a war on human nature. 617-266-6868, but I'm the extremist. Bradley in Haverhill. Go ahead, Bradley.
Hey, my friend, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Bradley?
I am good. I agree with you 100%. And I got to tell you, years ago, when I was a Cub Scout and then a Boy Scout, there were guys in my neighborhood who were also Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts. And I don't know how we did it, but we built, I'm going to call them forts in the woods. Little lean-tos they even had windows and doors on them. I don't know. And we would gather around the campfire. It's not that girls were excluded, but girls wanted no part of it. And we were happy with that. We were just pals, chums. I don't know every now and then somebody would get a pilfered Playboy magazine. We didn't even know what that was. So it was just boys being boys, very young. And to have this go on is absolutely astronomically crazy.
You're right, and thank you for that call, Bradley. But see, what I'm trying to say is this: you're right. It's crazy. It's insane, but it's deliberate. It's no accident the National Organization for Women pushed this. It's no accident that the radical left was pushing this and pushing this and pushing this. It's no accident. Because what the goal is, think about it, is they're trying to literally feminize men. What they're trying to do is, it's essentially a war on boys, it's a war on men, it's actually a war on women. We're talking about a war on women. This is the ultimate war on women. What they're telling women is, you really can't be feminine. And what they're telling boys is, you really can't be masculine. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a hybrid. We're going to fuse the two of you. It's really a radical social experiment. That's what they're doing, and our kids are essentially the guinea pigs. That's what's really going on here. Now, I can just tell you this, because as you were talking, Bradley, it was really eliciting a lot of powerful memories. When I talked about my good friends that I grew up with, who were in the Boy Scouts, I wasn't, but how much I admired them. They created, I don't know what you want to call it, a tree house, but it wasn't high. It was on the ground beside a tree. And they just did it on their own. Okay, it was 4 of them. And they put together, it was like a little cabin I mean, I don't want to overdo it. It was a short cabin. Like, you had to crawl to get in. It was about 4 feet high. But it had a roof. It had walls, wooden walls. It had a door. It had, a doorknob. It even had carpet. It was in the field, but they actually had carpet. I thought it was the coolest thing I ever saw when I was a young boy. And I marveled at these Boy Scouts with their beautiful uniforms. How they could hammer, how they could use wood, how they could just build this on their own. And honestly, I know it's going to sound strange, but they all cooperated. They didn't argue. They didn't fight. It was like a miracle. And that these young boys, what were they? 9, 10, maybe 11. I don't even think 11. 9, 10 years of age. And they were able to do this. I wish I could do that. I wasn't able to do that. And so this is what the Boy Scouts, this is what they do. They take boys and they bring the best out of them. And they teach them the skills and the qualities. They harness the qualities and skills that are in many, not in all boys, but in many boys. And look, I feel the person I feel sorry for ultimately is my son, because I know my Ashton, and he would love the uniforms. Oh, I know him. He'd love the hunting. He'd love the swimming, the camping, the hiking, the campfires, the bonding with fellow boys. He would love it. And now you're going to potentially take that away from him, because I'm telling you, if you've got girls involved, it's just not the same thing. It just isn't. You're robbing our children of a special, unique experience. And I don't think you have the right to do that. Just my opinion. Fran in Lowell. Go ahead, Fran.
Yes, hi. And I don't want to give you a swelled head, Jeff, but I think what you've said is what might happen to the Scouts in a couple of years is going to happen. I think it's the most tragic news I've heard in a long time. I was a devoted Girl Scout, and our troop eventually had to disband because we lost our leader, and we couldn't find another one. And this, to me, is shameful that the Girl Scouts, if they don't have the programs that the young girls want, instead of building up the programs, they have to go hat in hand to the Boy Scouts and beg to be let in. I think it's shameful, and I feel so sorry for the boys to ruin an organization that was such a superb organization. It's political, to me, it's political correctness, the same poison all over again, and just spreading wider and wider. That's my feeling.
Fran, thank you very much for that call.
Thank you.
And look, that's, to me, this is news. Now, I'm getting a lot of texts from people that are saying that mother that complained about the Girl Scouts, that may be her experience, but that's not with many of the Girl Scouts. Because my understanding was, they do go to campfires, they do go hiking, they do learn survival skills themselves, which I think is a very good thing. They probably do it in their own way and maybe don't quite do it the exact same way the Boy Scouts do, which is normal. Why? Because they're girls, and girls are different from boys. But, to me, look, there is nothing more American than the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts. When I see them at my local Stop and Shop every year, and the Kuhner man loads up on those chocolate mint cookies, okay? I see them with the Girl Scouts, their beautiful, wholesome faces, their red cheeks, their wide eyes. And I just look at them and how proper they are and how well behaved they are and how respectful they are. You can't get more all-American than that. What's wrong? Again, I go back this is reminding me almost of Obamacare. When they tried to I'm like, what's wrong with our healthcare? I know it can be tweaked. I know it can be improved. I know you want to get everybody covered. But why do you have to wreck the greatest healthcare system in the world? What's wrong? I'm asking again, with the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts, what's wrong? Marianne, you're up next. Go ahead, Marianne.
Yes. Hi, Jeff.
Hi.
I love your program, by
Thank
the way. I agree with Fran. It's all about political correctness. Let's keep them separate. the Boy Scouts, the Girl Scouts. I was a Brownie. I was a Girl Scout. And we had wonderful programs. We had badges. We did a lot of things outdoors. However, why would you want to put the little girls and boys together when they really don't think that way at that age? They want to be themselves, and let them be themselves. There's plenty of time for dating and for getting to know each other in another way, but let them grow up.
I'm with you. Amen. Amen. And look, somebody else mentioned it, but I think it's a very valid point. To all the guys out there, you're 13, puberty's kicking in, 14, 15, let's be honest. Your hormones are starting to rage. It's just a fact of life. Now you're going to be mixed in with the girls. They're 13, they're 14, they're 15. Come on, we're not naive here. Then their hormones are starting to rage. She's good looking, he's good looking. You're in the woods. You're camping. You're away from your parents. You're asking for trouble. I'm just being honest with you. You're asking for trouble. Aaron in New Hampshire. Go ahead, Aaron.
Good afternoon, Jeff. Thank you for taking my call.
My pleasure, Aaron.
You know, I hope this isn't too deep for I think it's along the lines of what you're talking about. But if we view everything through political correctness, to be politically correct, you have to view something through a political prism.
Yes.
And once we start viewing everything in life through a political prism, we lose the authenticity of our American way of life. You know, it doesn't make just your political correctness or your political view, that doesn't make you a good American. It's how hard you work, how you treat your family.
Yes.
It's Boy Scouts, it's football, it's those things like that. So, you know, the people who are really winning in all of this are the ones who created it, and that's the establishment type. Because they know once they get us viewing everything, that's why everything's under attack. Once we start viewing everything through that political prism, then, you know what countries do that? North Korea, the old USSR, parts of China. I mean, once everything in our life is viewed through that prism, then they own us.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Look, I don't want to, and thank you for that call. Brilliant. Look, I don't want to put too fine a point on this. You know what this really ultimately is? It's globalism. It's globalism. On a micro level, it's globalism. Smash all unique institutions. Smash anything that is distinctly American. Create sameness, homogeneity, something that's uniformity, unisex. That's what this is. This is globalism, but on a local level. That's what this is. It's another way to try to indoctrinate our children. 617-266-6868. More with your calls. Next. Carol, you're up next. Thanks for holding. Go ahead, Carol.
Yes, Jeff, I just want to say I don't want to end up like Europe. I don't know if you saw Fox last night with the British conservative going to schools, but she's trying to teach them critical thinking, and they're trying to ban her at different schools, and the parents are contacting her, wanting her still to go. So people don't want this. The government wants this, and we have to stop so we don't end up like stupid, crazy Europe.
Well, you know, Carol, thank you for that call. Look, I think you're right. It's the Europeanization of America. I think it's the socialization. I mean, it's through socialism, the Marxification of America. And what Aaron was getting at is what's happening in America is very dangerous. He mentioned the Soviet Union, Communist China, North Korea. It's the triumph of ideology. It's now they want reality to conform to ideology. In this case, there shouldn't be two genders, but one gender. Okay? A unisex world. But that's not reality. And so when you keep pushing ideology, eventually you're at war with reality. And it's going to destroy everything in its path because it doesn't conform to human nature. And so this is what you're going to see. And so what's going to happen? That's why you want to understand liberalism in a nutshell. Why everything liberals touch, they destroy. Because it's ultimately ideology over reality. Well, they're going to destroy the Boy Scouts now. They're going to destroy the Girl Scouts now. Just like they destroyed at our borders. just like they destroyed our health care, just like they've destroyed everything, academia, the media, everything, sports. Look at football. Everything they touch, they destroy. Because ultimately, for them, it's the triumph of ideology over reality. Let's go to Karen in Sutton. Go ahead, Karen.
Hey, Jeff. I am a big fan of yours. I listen every day.
Thank you, Karen.
I did want to say, a friend of mine has a girl in Girl Scouts and a boy in Boy Scouts. And he told me that their schedules are completely different. The Girl Scouts really don't do exciting things. They have problems with getting women to devote a lot of time to it, and they really don't have much going on. And the boy has all sorts of great things to do and places to go. So I'm not so sure if this is such a liberal agenda as it is to try to give girls the same opportunities the boys are having.
Karen, look, you're right. Look, so my answer would be, make the Girl Scouts more exciting.
Well, I thought maybe something like called the Scouts and then have different schedules, okay? But have them have the ability to go on camping things and hiking, and that doesn't seem to be the agenda, according to my friend, who's first-hand knowledge, that really a lackluster schedule for the girl as opposed to his boy.
Yeah, so Karen, honestly, at that point, what I would just say is tell the Girl Scouts, look, take the kids hiking. Take the girls hiking. Take them up for campfires. Have them do more exciting, physically vigorous things. But, look, will Trump tweet about this? I'm not kidding. That's the question. Because if he does, like the NFL, you may see a backlash grow, and maybe, just maybe, this can reverse the Boy Scouts' decision. I need another hour. I gotta go. Bye-bye.
The big voice of Boston is you. 680 WRKO Boston, 93.7 WEEI HD2 Lawrence, Boston. It's 3 o'clock.